Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Chase Porter. I'm an Equal Justice Works Fellow and attorney here at Lone Star Legal Aid. Lone Star Legal Aid provides free legal services to low-income Texans and up to a few counties up in Arkansas too. We have 14 offices spread across the Gulf Coast in East Texas with attorneys, social workers, and other staff who help low-income folks in just about every civil legal topic you can think of. That just means we do nearly anything you can think of except criminal law, generally speaking. I'm joined today by Juan Flores, who is the Community Air Monitoring Program Manager at Airlines Houston. Thanks for joining me today, Juan.
Happy to. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Before we get too far into it, I need to pause and provide a disclaimer. Nothing Juan nor I say today should be taken as legal advice. While we're hoping to provide you some helpful information today, that's all it is. It's just general information. We'll be happy to take questions. Just put them in the chat box on Facebook, and we'll answer them either at the end or maybe as they come. But if you have a particular legal problem or a specific issue you would like more information about, I would encourage you to apply for Lone Star Legal Aid services by either calling our phone number or visiting our website, lonestarlegal.org. There should be information in the chat box with that information, and our website and contact info is also on our Facebook page. All right, so while I said that Lone Star Legal Aid handles just about any civil legal issue, I specifically work in our Equitable Development Initiative. It's kind of a fancy word for doing work that promotes development within low-income and vulnerable communities. I have a terrible business model, which is my goal is to raise my clients, individuals, families, and communities out of poverty so that they don't qualify for my services anymore. Our team focuses on helping people form 501c3 nonprofit corporations and other community-based organizations. And I counsel and we counsel them on various issues to ensure that they're operating with maximum effectiveness. I also help in the formation and growth of small businesses by providing a mix of transactional services. And then I spend a lot of my time doing environmental justice work, and that's ensuring that environmental benefits and burdens are distributed fairly across everyone that lives in our service area, and furthering your right to be protected from environmental hazards. So if you think you might need help in any of those areas, forming a group, starting a small business, or environmental justice issues, please give us a call or go to our website, and myself or someone on our team, hopefully we'll be able to help you out. We work on a bunch of other issues, so if in doubt, give us a call and we'll see if we can help out. A big chunk of our environmental work involves upholding what I think should be a right, and that's the right to breathe clean and safe air and the right to know what you're breathing. And so Juan and I today are going to focus on that latter part and try to help you make sure you can answer that question. Do you know what you're breathing? Unfortunately, here along the Gulf Coast and really across all of Texas, there's a lot of air pollution. Here on the coast, we have tons of those large industrial facilities that emit a variety of pollution in the air on a daily basis. We also have a lot of highways here in the Houston area and elsewhere, full of cars and traffic jams, trucks and buses that every day are emitting pollution. And so, you know, I always say while those facilities do form our, you know, part of our economic backbone in Texas, and highways and cars and trucks enable the way we live, they all emit quite a bit of air pollution on a daily basis. And it's important that we know about that. On top of that, we've had some accidents here in the Houston area at some of these large facilities. It's also happened out in Beaumont and Port Arthur and a few other places. And those events always lead to extra releases of air pollution that aren't typically there. And so it's always important for people that live in those areas to know what's going on and if there's something they need to keep in mind on any particular day. Further, and I think this is something people don't always think about, but we're here in the middle of hurricane season. We just had a tropical storm go through, and during and before and after natural disasters, we often see a big uptick in air pollution. When facilities shut down and restart before and after the storm, that usually comes with releases of air pollution, a lot more than they otherwise would. And during disasters, from flooding, from wind, whatever it may be, those facilities can take damage the same way any of our homes can. And when they do that, things tend to break, and that leads to air pollution and other pollution too. Stuff gets into flood water, for example. But kind of on top of all of this is that big day-to-day picture that I was laying out, and that's that portions of our state, the Harris County area, other counties and along the Gulf Coast are coming up against or sometimes passing what are defined by regulatory agencies as safe levels of air pollution. So, it's very important, I think, that we understand what we're breathing every day and know when there may be a particular problem that is putting air quality into a unsafe area. So Juan and I, from here, are just going to share a few tools and chat about some ways that you can make sure you understand air quality near you and can answer that question of what's in the air that you're breathing. First, the source I want to share is information from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. That's the state regulatory agency that is our version of the EPA, and they're tasked with protecting our environment and running a air monitoring network. I'm going to try to share my screen real quick. Good. Hopefully everyone can see a website from the TCEQ called Air Quality and Monitoring. I want to just scroll down and show this resource. I think it's a great resource. It's not the end all. Juan's group is working on a program to fill some gaps in what the state does, and we're going to talk about that. But this is a good resource. In the middle of the screen, you should see a map, a bunch of little dots on it. I'm not going to try to open it up right now, but you can click on that and it'll just kind of look like a map on your phone or whatever. And you can zoom in to where you live, where you work, where you travel, and see if there are air monitors near you. And if there are, you can just click on the dot, the air monitor, and you can see what types of pollutants it emits. Air monitors, there are a number of types of air pollution, a number of chemicals and things that get in the air. So monitors usually monitor for some of them, but not all of them. So I would encourage you to get on there when you have a free moment to see, is there an air monitor in the state network near me? And you can always go there and look at its data. On the right side, there are some other helpful links, and you can look at information about ozone levels. You can look at information about PM 2.5, that's particulate matter, that's soot, dust, smoke, little things in the air that we can't even really see. We breathe in, it can get in our lungs, it can get in our blood and cause a number of health problems. But I want to click on today's Texas air quality forecast. I look at this quite often myself. Let's see if it will load. All right, so hopefully you can all see this. And this is, the TCEQ keeps this air quality index, and green is good, dark red is bad, orange problematic, and so on. And you can go here every day and you can see what air quality is like today where you live, or what they predict it may be in the future. So for example, if you live out in the Beaumont Port Arthur area, you'll see today is a moderate ozone concern day. that doesn't mean that they think it's at an unhealthy level, but if you are someone who has asthma or something that makes you a little bit more sensitive to air quality, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And for all of us, it's not green, so it definitely could be better. There, hopefully as it cools down, we'll get better air quality. You can look tomorrow on that second column, where Saturday the 25th, and you can see that PM 2.5 particulate matter will be of concern out in Beaumont, Port Arthur again. If you live down in the Houston area, like I do and Juan does, you can see that ozone today is orange, and that means unhealthy for sensitive groups. So the big example I always use is if you have asthma, you may want to consider not going outside, especially during rush hour. If it's a bad ozone day, I tend to try to not jog outside in the afternoon, kind of change up what I'm doing. I think I don't have asthma, but it's just to be a little safer. Tomorrow, you can see in Houston that there is a little asterisk by the ozone. That means tomorrow is an ozone action day. So that means it's a heightened concern, and can make you aware that tomorrow you may need to be a little bit more careful about what you do outside, so that you're not breathing in an unhealthy level of ozone. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and go back to just the video. So that's the TCEQ air monitoring website. It's a great resource. I check it often. The news, people like that often pull information from that website too. If you have any, I'm just going to kind of repeat that if you have any particular concerns about air quality in your area, or are interested in getting involved and trying to address some of the problems that you may run across on that website or otherwise, give us a call here at Lone Star Legal Aid, and we may be able to identify a way we can work with you. Juan here in a minute is also going to tell you, about something his group is doing and ways you can get involved there. So that was a government website. On top of that, there are a number of nonprofit groups and community groups out there that work on this issue. We work with some client community groups, and through advocating on their behalf and with them, we've been able to get some extra air monitors placed in their neighborhoods. So if you think that if you have a concern and want to look into trying to get more air monitoring, feel free to reach out to Lone Star Legal Aid. But now I want to turn to Juan, and I have some questions for him about what Air Alliance Houston is doing to develop a community air monitoring network around the Houston and Harris County area, because there are, I think you would agree, Juan, a number of holes in the air monitoring network. But before that, I just want to kind of back up and just ask you more generally about your organization. What is Air Alliance Houston doing?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit here in Houston. We work on trying to improve the air quality. We feel that everybody should have clean air, and especially our future generations. So that's our value, and that's what we're working on. So, we have a lot of initiatives we do in Houston. We live right in the middle of all the petrochemicals here in the Chip Channel, and so because of that, we're always having a big battle on trying to improve the air quality. It's not an easy thing to do, but we do the best that we can.
It's not easy, and anyone that is watching, I hope you'll get involved in this fight, but it requires some persistence for sure. Can you tell us what your role is at Air Alliance Houston?
I am the community air monitoring program manager. I just got into that role, and so we're doing our best to expand our air monitoring networks here in the Harris County area.
Gotcha. And there's, people may have seen on that map a little cluster of air monitors in the Houston area. Some are operated by the state, some are operated by local government. Harris County is working on putting some air monitors out there. But I think, and you can explain this more, that y'all have identified some holes in that network, right? Because there's tons of air pollution in the Houston area. A lot of that is near vulnerable communities. So can you just kind of talk about, like, why did y'all start the initiative? Was it just there's so much air pollution, or
Yeah, I mean,
what's the motivation?
yeah, like you said, there's a lot of air pollution. I mean, there are monitors out there, as you showed in the map. They're spread out around the Harris County area, but they are spread out. They don't cover all the neighborhoods on the chip channel. Some neighborhoods are closer to the refineries than others. Some you know might not have a big air monitor, a DCEQ air monitor that's like far away from them, and it reads what's going on, but it doesn't read what's going on inside their neighborhood. So that's why we're working on creating these more customized air monitors in these communities. And the goals of these air monitoring network is to make it to where people, say for example, we're doing this right now in the community of Pasadena, in the community of Galena Park / Jacinto City, Cashmere Gardens, near Northside, and the community of Gulfton. So our goal is to put these networks into these communities where anybody can log in at any given time and in real time know what their air quality is around their neighborhood. Our goal is to put so many air monitors in the community, around schools, around areas that are real critical, that people are out,
Mhm.
so people can just log in and just at any given time know, like you said earlier, today's a good day to let my kid go outside and play. Today is a good day for me to go jogging.
Yeah,
We're trying to give these communities the ability to do that, but that's just one aspect of it. For us to let the community know what's going on at any given time. But the other part is trying to get data and trying to see exactly if there is emissions events going on. When are they happening? At what time they're happening? Some of these air monitors have wind sensors, so we can track to see where they're coming from, and and a more long term is to capture this data so we can know exactly how bad the pollution is in these communities.
gotcha. And a couple of questions. One, are there particular air pollutants that y'all are focused on, at least for now? And two, one of your goals is to give people the chance to look on their phone, and look at real-time data, and make a decision about, am I going to let my kid go out to play today? Today's a good day to go to the park. So how do they do that?
Well, each community is unique. Like I said, the community of
Mhm.
Pasadena, Galena Park, they're right on the chip channel, and they're right on top of these refineries. So in those communities, you get, you know, there's ozone in the air, there's smoke, there's chemical smells, benzene. Those communities have a different type of pollution. And then you start thinking
Mhm.
about other communities that are closer inside Houston. They're not really close to the refineries, but they have their own particular issues. In some case, Cashmere Gardens, they have a lot of train traffic. I don't know if you heard recently they found that cancer cluster right near where the Union Pacific was at. So they have a different type of pollution. It's not chemical. I mean, it's not refinery pollution, but it's
Yeah.
their own type of pollution, which could be particulate matter. It could be, for the chemicals that are coming off the trains. So each community is different. Like Gulfton. Gulfton is nowhere around any chemical plants, Southwest Houston, but they have issues such as they say, there's a street full of mechanics, and there's
Okay.
a lot of smoke, smog coming out of these mechanic shops. There's oil and stuff that's going into the community. So each community is unique, and each community has their own specific type of what pollution is affecting them. So we're trying to make these networks unique to each community, so we
Okay.
can know exactly how we can help them. Because there's always that thing in the back of your mind people have, is my community polluted? Well, more likely there is some type of pollution, but the thing is what kind. So that's where we're trying to be unique and customize these networks for each community.
Okay, and kind of describe the process of identifying the unique problem in a community. How do y'all go about
Well, actually,
doing that?
actually, we work very closely with the community. Our first steps that we do is, we have a community meeting where we come in and invite as many community members as possible to come in, and we sit down with them and we ask them, hey guys, well, what kind of pollution do y'all see in your community? Um, we we get a map out of the community, put it out for them, and we tell them,
Mhm.
here's some stickers. Here's a red sticker that is bad. Here's a yellow sticker that you suspect something's going on, and here's a green sticker if you think it's not that bad. So pretty much, we let the community members tell us and describe to us what they think or where they think are some uh, possible pollution problems in their community, and they go to these
Mhm.
maps and they put them on like, here,
Huh.
here's a concrete batch plant. We think this is really bad. Here's a red sticker telling us this is bad. Here's some people that say there's a bus barn right here from Metro or whoever. You know, a lot of people complain that there's a lot of smoke coming in the mornings or whatever. So pretty much we work with the community, let them tell us where they think the problems are at. And once we get that data of where they think there is, then we as Air Alliance, we have some people here at the office. We'll do some research and actually find out what actual um, causes might be causing these possible
Mhm.
pollution rates. If it's a concrete batch plant, if it's a freeway nearby, whatever it is, we do the research on that, and then we go back to the community and say, look, guys, this is what we found. Here are the areas. This is what you identified, and it's like, okay, cool. So we agree on what spots. And let me show you a map real quick, if you don't mind,
Go for it.
on how we got back to the community about it. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry, guys. Let me just open this up real quick. So this is a completed map that we did of the community of Northside. And you can see here on the map, this is Northside, this is 610, and this is downtown Houston's right above it. So this is
Mhm.
community of Northside. So these blue dots right here, these are areas that the community identified as places they suspect there's pollution. So they're marked on this map and they're right here in blue. And if you click on each one, it tells you what's around them. In this case, there's Jefferson Elementary. They're worried about the kids at Jefferson Elementary, so they put
Yeah.
that as a location. They like to know what's going on there.
Mhm.
Here's another place here. There's a warehouse that's in this area, so
Okay.
we identified that as well. So once we identified the area, well, the community identified the areas, we went back and looked for possible pollution sources. If you click on these yellow dots, it shows you like here's a pipe company called Hanson Pipe Products, and so we suspect there's something causing the there might be pollution coming out of that. So we went back and identified some pollution sites, and they're right here in yellow, and so on. So they're identified as that. And then right here are the red spots. These are locations in which people have volunteered their house, their business to put up air monitor. So our goal
Mhm.
is to try to put up air monitors around these blue sites where people identify that, so we can find out for sure if there is a pollution issue in the community in that area.
Very cool. And I love the community driven process of really putting the power into the people that have to deal with these pollution sources every day. For those people that have not attended one of your meetings before or forgot how to find information about them, how is there a place that people can go to get information about meetings and things that you're hosting?
Well, right now we're just working in these 5 communities which I listed,
Okay.
because we got some funding, and that's the most we can do. I mean, we wish we
Yeah.
could go into each community in Houston and be able to replicate what we're doing, and we're hoping in the future we'll get some more funding in which we can expand this network even more.
Mhm.
And so that's something that we're working on.
Awesome.
And
No, go ahead.
no, go for it, man. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I shared the Air Alliance website in the chat. Hopefully that's on Facebook. I also put the TCEQ website. I forgot to do that earlier. I'm sorry. But I would encourage people to go to that website and look at what Air Alliance is doing. It's really cool. If you y'all, the monitors are out there collecting a lot of data. So how do people, is there a link or something people can go to see the air monitoring data?
Our goal is in each one of these communities to create a dashboard.
Okay.
So they can go online. And I'm going to show you an example of one. This is the air monitoring network in Pasadena. It's not completely up yet, but it's almost there. And in this case, we have what's called an APIS air monitor, which I'll show you a picture of it. This monitor right here. It's as big as a bread box. It's as big as that. So we're using the APIS air monitor, and the APIS picks up a lot of different types of chemicals such as VOCs, ozone. They pick up different particles, 2.5. All that is picked up by this air monitor. And then for the other air monitor we use is called the Purple Air, which the Purple Air is it's probably as big as a coffee mug. They're not very big, but they're very effective at picking up particles in the air. So anything with smoke, anything like that, the APIS, the Purple Air will pick that up. But here's an example of the dashboard in Pasadena. This is the APIS. You can see right now the monitor in Bastrop, which is near Ritchie Elementary, is picking up some high levels right now. And if you click on it, it's color coded. So it tells you, right now it shows it's unhealthy. And you click on it, it tells you everyone may experience some adverse health effects after prolonged exposure. And this is ozone. The ozone is very high right now at this particular air monitor right now as we speak. And the VOCs right now, they're in yellow, saying they're moderate. So, and if it's green, that means it's good. So it's color coded to where anybody can go in and know by looking at the color if the air is good, bad, if it should be out there. So this is the APIS air monitor. Our goal is we're going to incorporate the purple airs in here so people can just log in, look at this map, and be able to see these air monitors. And eventually we're going to have a bunch of purple airs all around this area as well. So the network will expand. It will be bigger. Now let me show you the purple air dashboard.
Sure.
Okay, so this is the purple air. And if you click on it, go in a little bit more, this is the community of Galena Park. So there's a purple air right now. You click on it, same thing. They're color coded. It tells you, if the air is bad, good, and it tells you here what to expect. And right here on the left, if you see this thing keeps a record for weeks past on how it's fluctuated. So these air monitors keep that data to where anybody can just log in and go in here and take a look to see what's going on. Even what happened a couple of weeks ago. And here with the APIS, you can actually go in even more detail and actually see even more about it. And let me just click on it real quick so I can show you that.
Sure.
Okay, now this is more in depth. Some people have a hard time understanding this, and even myself sometimes I have a hard time understanding. But this is the actual monitor. It shows you where it's at in Pasadena. It shows you the wind direction. That's why I was telling you that if there's a company like, here's the refineries. You can see them right here in this map. The refineries are all right here. And it shows right now that the wind's blowing from the northwest. You can see it right here. So we know if there's a high level of pollution coming out right now, we can track it going this way and figure out that it's coming from this refinery right here. So it gets to that point. And right here, like I said, even more detail. If you like numbers and you like graphs, this thing will tell you what it's reading. That's why, that's the hard thing in trying to get the general public to understand what this data means and what it is. That's why we color coded it to make it a little simpler for people to understand. Is it good? Is it bad? Don't go out. But if you want even more details, this dashboard will give it to you. But of course, not everybody understands what all this is. And even with me, sometimes I have a hard time understanding this as I learn all this. But as you can see, all this data is stored here. And we're actually working right now on analyzing the data in Pasadena over the last 3 months so we can try to pick up some trends try to
Mhm.
see if there's something that we need to go and address with some of these companies so they can clean up their act.
Gotcha. And what if, do you have some examples of, or y'all kind of actively working on starting that initiative, picking up the trends and going
Yeah,
to the company?
our steps are as follows. First, we go to the community, we find out the locations that their pollution. Once we do that, then we find the locations of people that will let us put up an air monitor at their house. We install the air monitors. Once the air monitors are installed, we give them about 3 months for them to pick up data. After those
Mhm.
3 months, we will go back and get that data and analyze it and pick up the trends in the area. Once we know what the trends are, then we will go back to the community and say, look, guys, this is what we found. We found that every day at this time there's this emission event coming from this particular company, you know, and we know it's coming from this company. Let's go talk to the company and tell them what we found. And so we're trying to create an action plan for each community for us to try to address whatever's found in their community to try to make it better. And
Awesome.
that includes going to the city first. It includes us going to TCEQ. If we have to go to the EPA, do we need to go to the local state rep? Can we just go to the company itself and show them, look, guys, we got data that shows you guys are having issues. Can y'all please address that? So we're going to address all that by creating an action plan to try to remedy some of these situations.
That's awesome. Y'all are providing both for people to make decisions today, but also to hopefully make things easier in the future. There's one last tool that Lone Star Legal Aid had produced, and I wanted to show folks that, but is there anything else, Juan, that you wanted to cover before I jump over to that?
Like I said, this is a new program, and we're hoping that if everything becomes successful, that we'll be able to replicate this in other
Mhm.
neighborhoods. Because right now, like in the Chip Channel, Pasadena's up here, Galena Park is here, and we're monitoring on both sides of the Chip Channel. So we're going to cover a lot of good details there to know exactly what's going on. So, because that's what they. I mean, I grew up in Galena Park as I was a kid, and I
Okay,
smell
yeah.
chemicals all the time, bro. I mean, I go at 2 in the morning, walk my dog, and you can just smell it. And over
Mhm.
these years, we've smelled it. We know it's there, but it's always your word against theirs. It's like, how can you prove that, because you can call Harris County and say, hey, I smell this, but they won't come out to the next day. They won't come out 2 days later. By the time they get out, it's not even there anymore. So it's
Right.
like, it's always been the thing is, how can you capture it and have backup, have data
Mhm.
to back up what you're saying. So with these air monitors in these communities, you know, we have the data, the scientific part, the scientific data. Now we have it. Now we have something to stand on. So even if the county doesn't show up, or TCQ doesn't show up 3 days later, we're like, hey, guess what, guys? We have our own air monitors. Here's the data. So
Mhm.
this is something that's going to help the communities out and have this data to back up what's going on.
That's awesome. It's a really is a great tool, and the data is very important. As Juan pointed out, a lot of times that weird smell or that weird color in the air, by the time the authorities, so to speak, can get out there, it is gone. And for different reasons that can kind of limit their ability to do something about it. So being able to capture this data in real time and having it logged back, over weeks, so when you can go back and look at it is an amazing tool, and it's going to help Air Alliance's advocacy, but also the advocacy of Lone Star Legal Aid. We're going to benefit from it as well. So very grateful for what y'all are doing. Juan, you kind of segued into this last tool I was going to share real quick. Hopefully it'll be put in the Facebook chat. It's a link to the Lone Star Legal Aid Environmental Nuisance Report. And I will try to share my screen one last time to see if I can pull it up here. As Juan was talking about, it really is important to hear from the community, the people that are there every day. They know what the problems are in the neighborhood. They know if the refinery's putting out something funky smelling out in Galena Park, or if you're in Gulfton and that there's something coming from the mechanic shop that doesn't seem quite right. You know, hopefully Juan's, that network is going to capture that data and memorialize it so it's there for people to go back and look to. But one thing you can do to try to quickly get the word to the right people is use our environmental nuisance reporter. And this is a tool that Lone Star Legal Aid developed with some law students at Georgetown up in DC. And it allows residents in our service area to go on the tool, and they can report odors, air pollution releases, water pollution, noise, all sorts of things that don't quite seem right or normal. Or, if it seems like a mechanic shop is normally releasing something that it doesn't seem quite right, you can go on here and let us know about it. And so what this tool does is you can go in here. It's in English and Spanish. I think we may be working on a Vietnamese version too. Is you can go onto the reporter and we'll see if it loads here, and fill out a form. Hopefully it only takes you about 5 minutes to fill out. It may take a little bit longer if there's a lot of details that you want to tell us about. But you can go through this form and tell us about a nuisance. I'll stop moving the screen. One important thing that I will note is if you fill this form out and you provide the contact information, it will send a report immediately to both Lone Star Legal Aid, but also to TCEQ, the state agency, so that they're aware of something you've seen in your community. You can file it out anonymously. That's perfectly fine. And it will come to Lone Star Legal Aid, and we'll try to contact you if we can to see, to let you know if there's something we think we can do about it or help point you in the right direction. And so you'd fill this form out. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. But I would highly encourage anybody who sees something, smells something, hears something in their community to use that nuisance reporter and get the word to us and get the word to TCEQ as soon as we can. And if TCEQ or whoever, the county, can't get out there quick enough to smell the same thing you smelled, go see if Air Alliance has captured that data, and we can all work together to try to correct the problem and prevent that happening again in the future. I think that's about all Juan and I have for today. I'll give a minute just to see if any questions come through the chat. Feel free to ask us any questions. If there are none, I will say one more time, thank you so much, Juan. Air Alliance Houston is doing incredible work. I look forward to both using your data in my own advocacy, but also seeing that network grow. I hope over time it continues to expand. And I would encourage people that were watching this to keep an eye out and see if Air Alliance is able to expand into their community. Go to a meeting, tell Juan what the problems are, and work together to fix them. If there are no questions, we'll let you get going on this Friday afternoon. Have a great weekend, everybody. A little bit cooler weather, so if the air quality is good, get out to the park and have some fun. Take care, guys.